Here with Kate the Great, Kate Goodman. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this. I will keep it short and sweet. So Kate have you gotten rejected or deferred anywhere yet?
No, I've gotten into all the schools so far.
Okay, and how many is that?
It's 10
10.
out
Wow.
of
Okay.
the 14.
Okay. So Kate is 10 for 10, including getting into your first choice school,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah,
awesome.
Syracuse. So exciting.
Yeah, I don't know if we can quite see these subtle. There we go. Yeah, the merch. You got to represent the merch. Um, So I thought it'd be good to ask you a few questions because we have a lot of kids who have not yet gone through this process, some of which are working with us, some of which are not working with us. So for everyone, I wanted to sort of do a miniature case study, like you're some sort of experiment, um, and talk first about I guess who you are, where you're from. So tell us that.
So, hi, I'm Kate Goodman. Obviously, as Andy said, I'm from Syosset, New York, and I am in 12th grade, obviously. And I just went through the process of applying to college and very stressful process, but I got through it
Yeah. No, you
with the
got
help of
through.
Andy, of course, and all of the resources that he has given.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, but the key factor is you did the work, right? So,
Mhm. Yeah.
when do we actually start? Was it the end of 10th? It's probably the
I
beginning of
think
11th grade.
it might have been like March of 10th grade, like planning when I was going to take the ACT and like with the tutor and stuff and when I was going to start.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about at that point. I guess I'd already worked with your brother, so you kind of knew about us peripherally.
Mhm.
But what were some of the if you remember, what were some of the challenges or obstacles that you were grasping with back then?
Back then, I think I was processing that I had to take the ACT or like the SAT and that I needed to study hard so that I could get the scores that I wanted to get for myself and also just like um
You were very involved and you had like a lot of kids. You do a lot of stuff outside of school, right?
yes.
Between gymnastics and BBYO, and you had a lot of time pressure too.
Mhm.
So I remember that being an
Because
issue.
the beginning of 11th grade, I had something every day. Like I had ACT tutoring, I had gymnastics practice, I did driver's ed. So it was like my weeks were like packed, but the busy schedule helped me actually stay on task and study harder and be able to really process the amount of work that was to come for the college process that I had started. And
Yeah,
then I really didn't know what I was going into. Obviously, in 10th grade, I was like, ah, I have 2 years, like I'm not have to worry about anything. But it all
right.
came so fast. So having the prep for the ACT and like having the studying that I did, even starting, I think I started studying like August as soon as I got home from sleepaway camp. And I took the ACT 3 times,
Yeah,
but those 3 times, every time something different obviously went good and something went bad. But those 3 times I took it, I definitely felt more and more prepared each time.
yeah. Well, I said that before. You put in the work, and there's no substitute for that. And I think what I hear from a lot of kids, and you have this, I'm sure you hear the same thing from your peers and from your brother's peers and all that, is that it's so hard to juggle everything. But what you have to bear in mind is that the kids at the colleges that you're applying to, or the kids also your competitors who are applying to those colleges that you're looking at, are also
Mhm.
under the same type of gun in terms of trying to balance everything out. So it may not be pretty, but you got to sort of put your head down and just do it, which I think is exactly what you did. Um, okay, let me ask you a few lightning round questions. So um, how dead set were you on your prospective major, which you can still change, um, when we started at the end of 10th grade, and then what, if anything, changed since then?
So my major that I like my prospective major is exercise science or kinesiology, really. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do when we started. I knew that I wanted to go do something in medicine because I've always like been interested in it. Even from when I was younger, I always told my parents I wanted to be a doctor. I told all my family that. I just didn't know what. And then I really started processing that I wanted to do kinesiology, which is the like science of movement and the body. So I realized I wanted to do that after I gotten injured a few times in gymnastics, and I wanted to learn more about why, like what happened when I got the injury and like what was affecting me. So I started to realize, oh, wait, that's interesting to me. But then as I was looking more with you and with my parents, I was looking more into different careers that I could go into as an exercise science major or just like doing exercise science, which was mostly like physical therapy or being an athletic trainer. And I don't know how interested I was in being an athletic trainer or a physical therapist. So I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, or I could go a little bit more into medicine. And I noticed I could be a physician's assistant.
Right.
So I started looking more into that and the career that would give me as being a physician's assistant. And a PA can really do anything that a doctor can do, but you don't have to go to medical school. And so throughout the year, like 10th grade, at the end of 10th grade, and then throughout 11th grade, I started really processing that I wanted to do physician's assistant. And then with you, we worked on what majors to apply to. And so most of them either were like pre-PA programs or physician's assistant, or exercise science and
Right.
kinesiology.
And you also took steps to shadow or quasi
Yeah.
intern, right?
I shadowed a really good doctor who was my orthopedic surgeon. I got the opportunity, I shadowed him twice, and it was a great opportunity. And then I also took a few classes that were offered in my school, which I'm very thankful that I got to take those classes.
Yeah. So from my perspective as a college advisor, that is great for you just in terms of your personal growth and getting, a real practical insight on what people actually do day to day. But
Mhm.
B, it also deepens your application. So when you're applying to various colleges and you're claiming this is something you're interested in majoring in, the fact that you have tangible, actual, real life, experience to bolster that application, I think is really important. So I think that was a big difference for sure. You were also super involved. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my perspective, you were also super involved with BBYO.
Oh, yes. I am
So
on the
so
board of
describe what
BBYO.
that is, and then describe what your role was.
Okay, so BBYO is a Jewish youth organization of Jews all around the world. And my position was to recruit and retain new members. So I would talk to eighth graders and ninth graders and anyone who was interested to come and join our chapter. I would talk to them, I would introduce them to what it was, and then they would come to events and they would become interested. But it was sometimes hard because they were not a lot willing to come
Right.
or they weren't willing to learn. But as they came to more events, they got more interested, and it really like just shaped me in the way of like seeing more people become interested and love something that I love too. So being involved in BBYO has definitely helped my leadership skills because before then I like didn't really understand like how I could affect people by like talking to them and like by introducing them to something that I knew of but they didn't. So it
Yeah.
definitely helped me grow as a person.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. So from a college application standpoint, there's a few great things, right? So to point out, number one is this was not necessarily um, being in a club at school and running for office, and a lot of kids focus on that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they get sort of disappointed or crushed if they don't become president of every club or something like that. This is outside of school, and it accomplishes the same thing, which is demonstrating, like you said, leadership and responsibility. And I think from a meta standpoint, this is what colleges are looking for in terms of kids in their community. Are they going to be actively involved and improve their community? So the stuff you're doing now in high school is sort of like a dry run, but a great signal, a great indirect signal that you're sending, to admissions officers.
Mhm.
I think also it's you're going to have that built-in community in college. You're gonna,
Mhm.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of kids where you're going at Syracuse who are also very active in BBYO and also
Yeah.
similar types of organizations. So I think that's great also. Um, in terms of how you shaped the college list, I mean, so not everyone gets in 10 for 10 the way you are right now.
Mhm.
But they were not all slam dunks. I mean, I wouldn't call Syracuse a slam dunk for you to have gotten into. I was expecting to get in, but it wasn't like a safety or something. So how was that process if you haven't blocked it all out in terms of figuring out what colleges to apply to?
Well, for me, it wasn't really the I can get into this, or it's like I want to go to this school so badly. Like really didn't know I wanted to go to Syracuse 100% until like earlier in the year. So like till February maybe, because I visited my brother and I saw it and I was interested. I kind of shaped it around, I looked up and I like did research on what the best school was for my major. And I applied to some schools that I knew I was going to be kind of get into. I don't really think I challenged myself too much, which maybe not is so great. I feel like I could have gotten into harder schools, but I shaped my list more of like, I feel like I could see myself going there, or I think I have a good chance of getting in. I don't really know how I shaped it, but
Well, it was certainly that, but it was also the programs that they offer, right? The
Mhm.
majors, because every college isn't strong with exercise science or physical
Yeah.
therapy or any of that type of stuff. So I would say almost across the board that every school you apply to is highly reputable in the areas that you are considering, in both in
Mhm.
terms of the quality of their education, but also their internship opportunities and how they support kids for their future careers once they leave college. So
Mhm.
I think that's pretty good, pretty important. All right, let me switch gears again on you. So one of the things, again, just from a strict college advising standpoint, so I think the big win for you doing the internship and exploring careers was, again, for your personal growth. But from the narrow perspective of applying to college, number one, deepening your application, but number two, when it came to the essay writing, you had some great raw material to write about in terms of your involvement with BBYO and other things. So I thought that was great. Again, for those signals, that you send to admissions officers.
Mhm.
So talk about the experience of writing essays, because you did a whole lot right away, and then there was like a little bit of a lull, and then you finished strong, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
So
so I
yeah,
started my essay writing in August. I knew that I wanted to be almost not finished, obviously, but like with my Common App essay or like my main essay, I wanted to be done before school started because I knew as soon as school start, my life would become insanely busy, and I wanted to get as much time as I could writing the essay and focusing on just that. So
I'm
I
sorry, and
really
you were away in up until August, right? That's
no,
why.
I was at
Oh,
home.
okay. So why we can then
Oh
refresh
wait,
my
no,
memory.
maybe I did start earlier. I think I started
Yeah.
in July, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
because
started
we didn't start right as school ended, but I don't honestly remember if it was. I do think it was
I
before.
think I started early. I think
Okay.
probably, yeah, maybe it was July. I'm not remembering right.
Okay.
I think I did start in July. Yes, that sounds right. Because I
Mhm.
wanted also to be able to, as soon as the Common App opened on August 1st, I
Right.
wanted to be able to easily just get most of the application done because the
Yeah.
most like time consuming part is answering all the questions individually for each college.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to get that out of the way. So that was just like in the back of my mind. And I did it all in one day. I think all the questions,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
push through them because I was like, there's no point in like procrastinating that. But as I finished my Common App essay, I don't know if I loved it, but then
Right.
I obviously had to edit it a little bit. And that was kind of the lull in it because I was like
Right.
trying to figure out what I wanted to write and like what I needed to edit and stuff. And then I had to start on my supplementals. And luckily, I didn't have that many colleges that needed supplemental essays,
Right.
but I still had a lot of colleges that needed my supplemental essay.
Yeah.
So I really was procrastinating that because I was just like doing schoolwork and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. And then I realized, oh, wait, I just want to get my applications in. So I applied to all the schools that I didn't need a supplemental essay
Right.
for once I finished my Common App essay. And that got like 10 schools or something out of the way. And I was
Yeah.
like, so relieved. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
finally, I have something in. I know I can be done soon. Like,
Right.
and then I really just wanted to finish it before the deadline. I didn't want to be someone who was doing their application until the November 1st deadline or the November 15th deadline.
Yeah.
And I got all my applications in by like maybe like October 15th or October 20th or something like that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be done. I was like sick of doing it and I just needed to finish. So I just pushed through all of my supplementals, got them edited and everything, and resubmitted all my applications.
Yeah. I mean, you were done more than a month before deadlines for most of your colleges,
Yes.
I think. Okay. So in terms of the essay, couple comments, or one comment, one question. So the comment is that it's very it's a very common thing to write an essay, work hard, work hard, work hard, finish it, and then be like, I don't know if I really love this. But the reason it's good to start early, like you did, is because when you're not working on it and it's just sitting there on your on your laptop or whatever, you're still subconsciously working on it, even if you don't think you are. So essays need time to breathe. That's how I refer to it.
Mhm.
So that's an argument against doing it last minute because you won't write as good of an essay. This is just for anyone who's watching this. You won't write as good of an essay if you're doing it on October 31st for a November 1 deadline. You've got to do what Kate did, which was get as much of it out of the way as possible and then let it sit and then you come back to it when you're ready. My question is, compared to, I don't know how aware you were of this, but compared to your other, friends your age, did you feel like you were starting the essay on the early side, the middle, the late side? Uh, how do
Definitely on
you
the
feel?
early side because a lot of my friends, when I told them, oh yeah, I already started my essay, I have like in like August when the Common App came out, I finished all the questions. And then once I was finally submitting my applications, all my friends were like, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of you. Like
Yeah,
I'm still working on my essay. Like some of my friends didn't even start their essays till like the mid-September and they were
yeah,
like rushing on their applications. I think some of my friends are still doing applications for like January and stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think I was on the early side, but it was good because
yeah.
I just needed to get everything over with because I don't think I would still be able to do the applications in this past like month. Like I wouldn't have been able to keep going.
No, it's rough. I have a handful of students who are still doing applications for January 1 and January 2 and a little bit later, and they're not loving life. I can tell you that. So your friends who were jealous of you, did you take my advice and mock them mercilessly, or were you nicer than I would have been to them?
I think it was nicer than
Okay.
you might have been to them.
Yeah. I thought that was an appropriate question to ask you. All right. So is there anything else about the process that I should ask you that I haven't?
Um,
Anything
I
trying to
think the waiting
flash
part
out?
of it, like waiting for applications to come back, was probably the most stressful
Right.
part.
Yeah, yeah, I
Just
think the way your mom said, I think you kind of felt like you had to be doing something, but there's really nothing to do except wait.
yeah, just sit and wait. And that's like
Yeah.
the most painful part because you're like,
Right.
or like some like schools came back for some of my friends in like October and I didn't hear back until December. Like that
Yeah.
was like the hardest part. Like I know like a bunch of my schools came out way before for other people and not for me. So
Yeah.
knowing other people got in and not like I didn't know if I got in was also stressful because you don't know when they're coming out.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people got rejected also. So
Mhm.
it's not a race. Just because you don't hear back early. Again, you went 10 for 10 so far. So just
Yes.
because you didn't hear back as early doesn't mean anything. You can't read into it. All
Mhm.
right. Closing comment. What advice would you give to any ninth, 10th, or 11th grader who hasn't yet gone through this process?
Definitely start early and try to put your all into it. Like sometimes, like with the ACT studying, you can get annoyed and you can be like, oh, I don't want to keep doing this. But if you keep doing it, you're going to get the results you want. And like sometimes if you slack off, it won't really help you. So if you really are like looking for a goal, like just try to get it finished and try to be on top of yourself to do it. And with like applications and stuff, start early, definitely. Just like start as early as you can and just try to get them done before the deadline.
Yeah, start. I would just add, I mean, that's great advice. Start earlier than your friends. Start earlier than you may think you should be starting because the time has a way of just getting sucked up. So do it before you're quote unquote ready. So,
Yes,
all
time
right,
goes by so fast.
awesome. All right, Kate the Great Goodman, thanks for your experience and your sage advice. And it was a pleasure working with you. A little bit better than working with your brother, but oop, I'm sorry. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.